This is Myra Kostecki approaching the 10 o'clock hour in our last segment tonight with author Robert P. Fitton. We're talking about science fiction and perspective in Mr. Fitton's books. Robert, again, thank you for being on Somnium tonight.
It's been my pleasure, Myra. Thank you.
I would, with your permission, like to approach this segment in a different way. I will describe the science fiction, and you tell us the book and some background so we can see the tremendous breadth of science fiction in your work. How does that sound?
I like it. It's like being on Jeopardy for your own stuff.
Good. As they say, let's begin. What if there was an adult daycare facility with unbounded possibilities that comes full circle for the participants? Sounds like the Greenwald story.
True, but this is an organized business. The novella called Daycare and Morris Draper agreeing to participate. Again, it's the fulfilling of what can't be fulfilled because of Morris's age and condition. The ending is like the upshot in Duch's subway named Mobius, like a Mobius strip in Montessori in the Never-Ending Mall story. This just keeps going on.
Determinism or even Calvinism.
For sure.
How about here elements of science fiction in this novel? A man-made dictator of a planet.
A flawed cyborg named Saul. Book is Galactic Command Reunion.
The vacation area floating through deep space is rather intriguing and certainly beyond what humanity can do presently. Tiny beady firefly artificial intelligence remnants from a soulless future, and a professor back in time touting a philosophy to think critically about new technology.
Sure, you touched on it briefly, Myra, in the other segment, and I have seen the future. Artificial intelligence ruling over humanity is a stark contrast with the 1939 World's Fair view of the future.
And Professor Geiger gets it.
He does.
What if there was a hidden dimensional security system to stop nuclear and other attacks?
Then I would say that you're talking about the platform. Imagine controlling safety in another dimension around the Earth. And the bonus contact with the aliens from Roswell, New Mexico in 1947. There was a reason why the Roswell aliens were there and warning to Earth.
How about this one? Pain and suffering have been supplanted with happiness and illusion. It diminishes the human spirit, to say the least.
The novella is called The Village. The people on the outside of the village are self-reliant, but inside they're implanted with images because they're fragile. Not only that, but they voluntarily end their lives. And their images, the illusion, goes on forever.
It diminishes the human spirit, to say the least. How about this next one? A ship travels back in time to correct the timeline that has changed in Los Angeles in the early 20th century.
Time Portal Alpha. There are a million ways to travel back in time. The science fiction involved a project and human emotions.
A spiritual journey back to find a murderer.
More fantasy than science fiction, The Butterfly and the Deadly Storm.
Suspend your disbelief. Back to Pearl Harbor, December 1941, from an underground aquifer in Death Valley.
Double Deception, another time travel book.
Correct. Like I Have Seen the Future. Aliens in the future chasing a woman back to warn a civilization in the past to prevent a destructive war against Earth and Sagan in the future. Aliens with an agenda, oh my.
The 1920s and aliens, oh my.
What if you were caught between two centuries and two ways of life?
I think that's me for sure, but that's another story. Flipping to another century and back reflects the struggle of just what you want.
And what did you decide about the two centuries?
The older, prior values. Modernity is never eternal.
Here's a trifecta that should be easy to figure out. Time travel from a broken time dilation project. Escaping through a foreign time travel project below a harbor and being chased back in time, and then accidentally getting taken back in time.
The man is Patch Kincaid, and the same retrograde technology within a protected bubble seen in the Kennedy Paradox, Return to Dallas, and the Jim Garrison book. Especially in the Return to Dallas, the science fiction and the time dilation helped highlight the Dealey Plaza nightmare. Two books that involve losing a person close to you through a supernatural slippage through time and worlds flipping between many worlds. Supernatural must mean the paranormal gypsy in the River of Fate. In the Many Worlds is the ancient alien outpost in Chicago, where Ricardo becomes immensely rich and powerful and stole the essence of Peter Sturgis's wife, Jeannie. That book was A World Without You.
The River of Fate has the same twist as Daycare.
It does. It's like a Hindu reincarnation ploy.
Freezing bodies after executions.
Well, that book is a freebie now, written in the 70s, and it's called Absolute Zero. I patched it up with the original typewritten manuscript, updated certain themes, and on the audio I fine-tuned the prose.
Now let me ask you, Robert. The Nebula Planet has a plethora of science fiction, from the bending of a space propulsion system, a reality ambient chamber, and a gravity-simulated vessel, and various hypercommunication channels. Ground-based terrestrial domes, dimensional travel, Dyson spheres, and the Big Kahuna, how the extraterrestrials respond to command presence in their solar system. Which Nebula Planet science fiction items do you think are the most phenomenal to all your writing?
To do what those aliens did is beyond all comprehension. I can talk about my point. They wanted to be left alone, and they responded when they were intruded upon.
I have read the sequence, and it's everything you described. And the terrestrial domes on Mars and Harry Cobb.
Is probably something that will be taken for granted as time goes by. And when Cobb goes to freezing cold Triton on the dome on Station 32, it's even more impressive. There's a time-altering event on Triton also.
So Cobb isn't just an investigator.
Right. There is sci-fi in the Cobb books. Cobb's uncovering of the sound energy leads to a conversation of a suspect in the Belkin case.
Robert, we're short on time, and I do want to get in a few fantasy works.
Sure.
Sarge the Old Man cornered in the supermarket by teens.
The teens enter the store freezer and emerge in World War II, where they really begin to understand death, service, and the fight.
Players in purgatory.
This novella is very, very creepy, especially the audio. A world controlled by a select few with the ability to morph between identities in Gerstein's funeral home, the destination for all those absorbed.
Robert, thank you ever so much for speaking with me here tonight on Somnium about your work. Please do come back, and perhaps we can delve into some of your individual books.
Thank you, Myra. This gives people a wide-ranging look at my work.
Indeed. Thank you, Robert. And thank you everyone for listening to this edition of Somnium. I'm Myra Kostecki. Keep your ear to the ground and sing forth the truth. Good evening.